Devy Degens, welcome into another episode. I'm SC Romero, my co-host Tom Harvey at Tom Harvey Sports there. And today we are talking our top 15 Devy wide receivers, not including the incoming freshman class or the soon-to-be freshman, if you will. So today, our top 15 wide receivers in Devy and a lot more after the intro.
Breaking down the hate, man, we call it like we see it. Finding all the gems while the rest just sleeping. Freshmen to the league, we ahead of the curve. Picking out the next star, put them on the reserve. From the big time schools to the deep cut finds. Gotta know who's next when it's draft day time. Stock rising, playmaking, watch them ball out. Devy Degens, yeah, no doubt. Yo, it's time to talk the future Devy style. Prospects rising, diamonds shining. Only the real ones grinding. Welcome to the Devy Degens, let's go. Let's go!
Devy Degens, I am SC Romero, my co-host Tom Harvey at Tom Harvey Sports and at the PPR show here. We're here to talk our top 15 wide receivers, but before we begin, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, help us grow further to get that word out there to let people know these wide receivers that we're on. You know, a lot of these guys that we talk about, we were ahead of the game here. Let people know where they can find this Devy talent, and it's with the Devy Degens here. Tommy, how are you doing today, though?
I'm doing all right. Been up since 5 o'clock this morning, so I'm kind of tired, but you know.
Okay. See, Tommy's up there grinding, watching this tape. Probably sure he has a job too, but this is part of the job here. So we're gonna make sure we go quickly through it, not as quick, but make sure we get Tommy a bed at a decent time there. As he gets ready for the holidays as well. I do want to say, and I'll remind people at the end of the show, next week is our season finale. As in, this was season 2 of the Devy Degens. Next week is our season finale. We're going to talk the ups and downs of the 2025 season for Devy Star. So what do we enjoy? What do we like? Kind of a drop in people, if they did well or did not do well. That's going to be next week for our season finale of the Devy Degens. And a lot more to come from Tommy and I throughout the Devy universe as well. But before we get into our top 15, Tommy, let's talk about players that caught our eye here. Starting with, it seems like it's happening every week now, but Jeremiah Love having a big week. What'd he do?
Yeah, Notre Dame was up 21-0 before he even touched the ball. Then he just proceeded to only have 8 touches throughout the game, but he turned that into 171 yards and 3 touchdowns. So he's just been unstoppable lately.
Is he your rookie 101 in 2026 class?
Yeah.
I think that's becoming more and more the consensus. I was on board with wide receivers early, but I think at this point, with how the running backs is shaped up in the 2026 class, Jeremiah Love is his own tier where the wide receivers can be bunched up into different tiers. So you got to take Love where you can there. Other one, rising freshman wide receiver out of Miami, Malachi Toney. What'd he do?
Yeah, 12 catches, 146 yards and a touchdown. He has been basically that entire offense there for Miami for basically most, if not all, of the season. He's been the top target for Carson Beck, the most reliable offensive weapon, and he's just tearing fools up right now.
Yeah, good speed, good size as far as physicality and how he can play the game. Nice receiver to keep on the radars there. He might have made our top 15. We'll find out. And then Vanderbilt quarterback, who's potentially a Heisman candidate, maybe Heisman winner, Diego Pavia. I know you've been on him. What'd he do?
He went 33 of 39, 484 yards, which was a Vanderbilt school record for a single game, and then 6 total touchdowns, 5 passing, 1 rushing. We've got a big test coming up with the big rivalry game this next weekend, but he's pushing towards that kind of Heisman finish line right now.
Yeah, there's some good quarterback play this weekend. Pavio was one of them as well. In a loss out of Kansas State, Joe Jackson had a big week against Utah, if I'm not mistaken. What'd he do?
Yeah, 24 carries, 294 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
Crazy, and they still lost.
Yeah, they were able to run all over Utah, but at the end of the day, their defense couldn't stop Utah either. So the Utes ended up coming back and winning that game.
Dan Pierre had 4 touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. That had a big week for him as well, quarterback out of Utah.
Yeah. Let's also not forget their backup quarterback, Bird Ficklin.
Yeah,
I think he had 3 touchdowns running the ball. So
Yeah, they were just it was crazy game all around for the runners, but not as much for the defenses. They had a field
Mhm.
day. Arch Manning, we talk about him a lot, but this week he kind of showed his athleticism, having
Yeah,
6 total touchdowns, one passing, one receiving, and one rushing. That's kind of crazy for him.
yeah, yeah,
4 total passing touchdowns, I will
yeah.
say, and then one rushing, one passing, or one receiving. So that's kind of crazy. It's been a while since I've seen a quarterback do something like that. Then we have Raleek Brown. What did he do?
Yeah, 22 carries, 255 yards, 2 total touchdowns, one receiving, one rushing. He's been really good in that backfield for Arizona State all season. Coming into the season, we thought it was going to be Kyson Brown. He got hurt. Raleek Brown really took over there. And he's been really, really solid there.
For sure. Speaking of running backs, we have another one here at LJ Martin, BYU running back, just a force to be reckoned with. He had a big week too. What'd he do?
Yeah, really a workhorse. 32 carries, 222 yards, 2 touchdowns, and also had 3 more catches for 44 yards. He was our leading receiver on the game too.
Yeah, he had a big week. Definitely running back to have my eyes on because he'll be a day 3 pick, but he could definitely get somewhere where he has a nice opportunity in front of him as well.
Mm-hmm.
A star was born in Auburn this week. Something
Yep.
that after this week, it's the question is why did you start him sooner, right? But what
Mm-hmm.
did freshman quarterback Duce Knight do for Auburn?
Yeah, a little bit of caveat. It was against Mercer, but still, 15 of 20, 239 yards and 2 touchdowns passing.
Mhm.
And then on the ground, 9 carries, 162 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah,
6 total touchdowns. The very first play of the game, he went 75 yards for a touchdown on the ground.
yeah.
So he had a really, really special game.
And it wasn't even like it was a design run, like it was a pass that he just saw. All right, my guys aren't open. I'm gonna go ahead and do it myself, and he sure did. And yeah, it was against Berkshire, but I mean for a debut game, still a huge game for him, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
really nice to see that. Speaking of quarterbacks that are, I guess could be rising the radars, Drew Mestamaker. I know you mentioned his name a couple times, but it seems a lot more people are coming around on him. What did he do this week?
Yeah, 19 of 23 for 469 yards and 4 total touchdowns. Really, really, really cool story. He hasn't started coming into this season. He hadn't started a game at quarterback since junior high, and then beat out Reese Poffenbarger for the starting job there in North Texas, and he's been one of the better quarterbacks in the country.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be a hot commodity if he chooses to enter the transfer portal. A lot of people believe he's gonna transfer out, possibly go to a Power 4. Has good size, has the arm strength. It's gonna be fun talking about him as we break down further into his game and see what he could be. And then the tight end class has been all over the place. I know we talk about Michael Tripp, people like Kidden Sadiq. I know Eli Stowers is a big game. One that's kind of fallen off has been Max Clare because he's at Ohio State. He's been behind, Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate. But this week, those were both out, and Max Clare kind of became their leading receiver, right? 7 receptions, 105 yards, and a touchdown. Kind of showing it off the ability. He's a good pass blocker as well, good run blocker too. But really nice to see him get the receiving work there. Any thoughts on Max Clare?
Yeah, big target, 6'5", 240. He was an All-American last year at Purdue. So, transferred in Ohio State this year, and was kind of thought to be that, that third option, which he's turned into be. But we kind of expected a little bit more production, but he's really solid game this past weekend with those 2 big targets out.
And it's nice to see it because I think that was a game he needed. Just to say, look, I can do work in the receiving end too. I mean, he was able to find soft spots in coverage and get open, and really make some big plays by getting yards after the catch as well in that game. So really nice to see there. That's what color eye this past weekend. As I mentioned, the bulk of the show is going to be our rankings for our wide receivers in Devy right now. Let's go over our preseason ones before we start off with our new ones. I'll start with mine. I have Jeremiah Smith at Ohio State. If anyone doesn't have Jeremiah Smith at Ohio State, I want you to ask them why, and then I don't want you to really trust their rankings. Just kidding. If you don't, hopefully you have a good argument, because the majority of us do, and that's just because Jeremiah Smith is him. I have Cam Coleman at 2 from Auburn, Ryan Williams at Alabama, number 3, Nick Marsh from Michigan State at 4, Ryan Wingo out of Texas at 5, Carnell Tate at Ohio State at 6, Jordyn Tyson from Arizona State at 7, Bryant Wesco from Clemson at 8, Jamie French from Texas at 9, Dallas Wilson from Florida at 10, Dakorien Moore from Oregon at 11, TJ Moore from Clemson at 12, Makai Lemon, USC at 13, and then I had Antonio Williams at Clemson at 14, and wait, missing one, Jerome Miles at A&M at 15. I have a lot of new people, I'll say that, but that was my preseason. What was your preseason?
Yeah, mine, started off with Jeremiah Smith. Number 2 was Ryan Williams out of Alabama. Number 3 was Cam Coleman out of Auburn. Number 4 was Jordyn Tyson. Number 5 was Dallas Wilson. Number 6 was Makai Lemon. 7 was Carnell Tate. 8 was Dakorien Moore. 9 was TJ Moore. 10 was Ryan Wingo. 11 was Evan Stewart out of Oregon. Number 12 was Denzel Boston. 13 was Nick Marsh. 14 was Jacoby Lane. And 15 was Antonio Williams.
So we had some similar names on there. We had a few different ones with some similar names. We both have some new ones now. A lot of things happened. We're again this week or this weekend is gonna be the final week for the regular season. You're gonna have your conference championships and stuff like that. But for the regular season, so we're gonna talk about what our top 15 are right now after we see the season play and got into some more film for these players and see what happens. So let's start off with our number 1 here, Tommy. Who is our number 1? Did that change?
No, it didn't change. Number 1 is Jeremiah Smith, as it should be. Jeremiah Smith, best receiving prospect since Jamar Chase, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair. He's been really nice. Do you think, just so we could build on it, I should have listened to you by taking French. Hey, there's still opportunity there, man. There's still
plenty of
French.
time. He's only a freshman. There's still plenty of time.
And the way I'll say this, I mean, I get it. I'm a huge fan of French. I think he is better than Khalid Lockett, who is up there at Texas. Ryan Weagle came on late for Texas too. Ryan Weagle's looking better than what he did at the beginning of the season. Texas is gonna have a lot of moving around. It wouldn't surprise me if French or Lockett potentially transfer out. But I do think the way Arch developed through the season, that was a lot too. But I appreciate you calling me out, man, because I missed on that. I'm glad you took Jamie French instead of taking Jerome Miles, because I'm completely on Jerome Miles there. So it happens though. It happens. Is there a role? What would have to happen for Jeremiah Smith to be knocked out? That's what I want to ask you. To be knocked off as 1.
A major injury. Say he just completely shreds his knee or something. And then has some type of, really difficult rehab or, something like that. Other than that, or, outside of a torn Achilles or something, he's pretty locked in there.
So let me follow up that question. He's the 101 in Devy. It's looking like he might be the 101 in rookie. We're talking rookie, not the NFL. NFL draft. And rookie draft's looking like he'll be the 101 in 2027. Because there's potential Julian Sain coming out, right? Arch Manning coming out. Guys that could challenge him for that. What team, because I know you take your star players, but what team would you not want Jeremiah Smith to go to? As far as the NFL?
You have to look at quarterback situations. Okay. As of right now, you're probably looking at somebody like Pittsburgh, Cleveland, always Cleveland, always New York Jets, Saints. You really
wouldn't want him to go there.
You wouldn't. You don't want him to go to a bad quarterback spot.
Okay.
Any team that has a horrendous quarterback situation, you don't want star receivers going there.
Fair. With Cleveland, I just think because of the room, I just feel there's with the back quarterback and the wide receiver room, they're just not quarterbacks that feed everyone like that. So that'd probably be my one place I wouldn't want him to go to. But Cleveland Brown fans, I'm sorry if he doesn't go there because we said this, But if he does, we'll talk it up. Number 2, we actually kept it the same here. So number 2, talk to us who we have at number 2.
Yeah, Makai Lemon. I've got him up 4 spots. You got him up 11. I was extremely high on him coming into the season. Probably should have been a little bit higher on him, honestly. But to me, he's the wide receiver 1 of this next class.
Yeah, I mean, one beautiful thing about having you as a friend, as a co-host, is we talk ball a lot, and you kind of saw me on Makai Lemon, and I started watching more of his game and really seeing that fluidity in him. I don't think he's as fluid as Amon-Ra. I know that's been the comp there, but I do think he plays as far as the same skill set. Like he could be a solid slot receiver in today's game. He could really fit that mold of the JSN, Makai Lemon, or JSN, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Again, not as fluid, but he's a lot more strict in his route running. Like he's a lot more aggressive in it, and he has strong hands to really do it. When it comes to his route running stuff, like I feel it's more than Zay Flowers, just a better version of that. Like the way he attacks the ball, I see him go up there and get it. How Zay Flowers did at Boston College just really played with a strong essence to his game to go out there and say, "Hey, this is mine, and I'm taking it down with it." But I really think, I know there's Jordyn Tyson. We'll talk about Tyson here in a little bit. Carnell, Tate also in this class, some other wide receivers, but Makai Lemon to me, I think with today's NFL fits the mold of what we want, and he's going to be the next USC wide receiver that is going to have a big, good career in the NFL. As we've said, they have some solid wide receivers in the NFL now. Number 3, we're still in lock here. Who do we have at number 3?
Yeah, Cam Coleman. I've got him. I've got him number 3, same as I had him in preseason. You have him down one spot from number 2, but you're just able to see all the attributes you want to out of him. He has just everything you want out of a wide receiver 1, and to me, he's part of that next wave with Jeremiah Smith, Makai Lemon. Not necessarily all that. I'm not 100% sold on Carnell Tate being that. I think there's a teardrop there. But those top 3 guys, I think are just going to be superstars at the next level.
Yeah, and Cam Coleman, we will talk about the physicality. As we said, Makai Lemon fits that mold. Cam Coleman fits your typical X wide receiver. Don't look at the record and say, well, he's not doing anything. I mean, the quarterback play has to be good. We thought Jackson Arnold was going to go out there and completely transition how he really impacted it. He had a good freshman season. Was it the same, right? This year, with seeing Duce come out there for Auburn, it gets you excited again and say, okay, these guys they're going to have a full offseason together. Imagine the chemistry they're going to build during this time and what's going to happen next year for Auburn, right? I don't necessarily see Cam Coleman transferring out. I think he's going to stay, especially with them finally giving Duce the reins. And I think it's going to be very special to see what happens. And, a lot of people had Ryan Williams at the 2. And, we ended up saying, no, that's not what it was. Cam Coleman could definitely take that spot. And to us, he really jumped over Ryan Williams to really take it there as well.
Yep.
Absolutely love it. Great pick. Number 4, still in lockstep here. No, excuse me. We're not. Number 4. I have Carnell Tate here at number 4. He really impressed me with what he did this season. I wanted him to get better in his route running. I thought he was just going to be, your straight go up there, X wide receiver that's not necessarily a big route runner because it stretches the field, gets you, the catch at the high point, stuff like that. He really impressed, though. He was a little bit more fluid, a little more agile in his routes this year. You saw a little bit more better in his cuts, a little bit better in his footwork. A lot of things they needed to improve on. He really did that. So I pushed him up there further. Hall State wide receivers can't really miss on them. So I really feel he showed a lot for me to go out there to do it. So I absolutely loved him. Amir saying thank you, Tommy. I'm not sure what that is for, but probably Cam Coleman or something. But either way, I was really impressed with Carnell Tate and bumped him up to right now my wide receiver 2 of this next class. What are your thoughts on him? Oh, 1 minute's trash.
Yeah,
talk to your 4 because I know you'll talk about Tate later. But talk to your 4.
My number 4 is Dallas Wilson. Going into preseason, he was number 5 for me. I moved him up 1. I know he's battled the injury this year with that leg, but when that first game he played against Texas,
dominant.
Yeah, he was just absolutely dominant. Mm-hmm. And Florida really, really missed that, ever since basically.
Yeah.
He was out for the first several games because of the injury. Came back, really dominated that first game he played, and then got nicked up again, and kind of got shut down for the rest of the season. Right. But you're able to see just the pure dominance he has in him. Just great size, great physicality. He's able to carry guys, with the strength he has. Right. So I've got him at number 4.
He did. She says Tommy and Dallas see the tree. Hey, Lo, I absolutely love your thoughts on him. Only reason why he's not my number 4, he's later down my ranks here. is the injuries did back me up for me. I'll say that. Injury before the season started, then re-injured again during the season. I had to push the brakes on it, say, okay, is this something that is? What's he gonna do during this offseason? Hopefully, with Florida, or if he goes somewhere else, saying, hey, is this gonna be very beneficial? Like, how's he gonna get that nutrition right, his health right, and stuff? Because there is potential for him to be that prospect of a Jeremiah Smith if he's healthy, right? I really do believe that, and better than the other freshman wide receiver I have above him. But again, that injury is scary, so I want to watch a little bit more on that. Coleman fits more from a new coach. Coleman and Wilson, between Coleman and Wilson, Wilson, 100%.
Yeah, I think with
that's a
Auburn,
great question. Sorry, that's a great question.
I think Auburn's going to be able to hire a safer coach, whereas Florida's really put all their eggs in the Lane Kiffin basket here. They need Lane Kiffin down there in Gainesville, whereas Auburn, they're kind of taking more of the safer route. Looks like John Summerall may end up being that hire there. And that's, to me, that's a very safe bet. He runs a very good offense there. You've seen that Tulane the last several years. And with stud Duce Knight, their quarterback for him. Yeah. I think Coleman is safe because of that. Whereas as far as Wilson goes, DJ Lagway, man, he's going to need a good quarterback coach. That's why I say they need Lane Kiffin.
Yeah. I just think Wilson, because Coleman, we've seen him do it. Wilson, the offense just wasn't moving as it should. And we saw Wilson kind of elevate that offense, able to stretch it down a little bit further. They weren't pushing it down far, heavy enough, I guess I could say, down the field, right? So you need someone that's going to be a little bit more aggressive in it. They were playing a little bit more conservative, if you will. Rumors are so loud. That's what it is all right now. Is all of it is rumors, right? Of it being there until it actually is. And I don't know. We'll definitely see Southern bowl games with some of these coaches that may be on the move. Their teams are doing good as well, so we're probably not going to see it until after the bowl game. Potentially, we've seen some coaches leave before that, and then it hurts their bowl game happening, right? So, but that's definitely one of the top spots we're looking at because of the talent we see in Florida. So it'll be interesting. Can't remember, but some current head coach who was on Maslon's staff. Who for the rumor is this? I assume he's talking about Florida here. But I think Dallas Wilson could definitely benefit. Who knows? Maybe if they don't get the right coach, maybe Dallas Wilson's transfers. Maybe he does go back to Oregon, right? Maybe Ohio State says, hey, you know what? We're going to have you there. Maybe he's going to have a name. He's going to have a pool of teams that are after him as well. Without that.
Oh, you talk about DJ Durkin? Yeah, there's rumors that DJ Durkin could get that job, but I highly doubt it. There's some big time baggage with DJ Durkin.
Let's go to our next one here. That was our 4. Number 5. You have Carnell Tate, so I'll let you talk about if you will ATL Carnell Tate here.
Yeah, I've moved him up 2 spots. I had him at 7 in the preseason. I moved him up to number 5. He's shown a lot. I've actually moved him up over Jordyn Tyson. I'm not 100% sold on him being that just pure dominant wide receiver 1 in the NFL. To me, he's kind of more along the lines of like a DJ Moore type. Terry McLaurin, not necessarily your wide receiver 1, just dominant guy. Right. He's not Jamar Chase. He's not Justin Jefferson.
Right.
But he's that kind of that next tier below them.
Gotcha. I guess he's talking about a trade, right? Because I guess you traded him, Cam Coleman, possibly in the league.
No, I traded him Carnell Tate.
Oh, Carnell Tate. Gotcha. Yeah, I mean the both fits. I think he'll be a solid one. He'll be the low end of your wide receiver ones, I think, at the next level. I don't think he's gonna be your upper echelon, but he's definitely gonna be so at the. And the beauty thing about him though is he could also succeed as the wide receiver 2 for a team. Like if you put him on the team with, say, with Justin Jefferson. I mean, I think that's possible where it could be happening there. I know they have Addison there and stuff, but
imagine he goes to Seattle with Jackson Smith and Jigba there.
Yeah, and now they that would be something that they could really do well. Choose
Mhm.
different type of wide receivers, and that would be nice for him as well. Landry Spot's key. He's one of the players. Again, there's a few teams where I don't want to see these wide receivers go to. I don't want to see them go to Cleveland. I don't necessarily want to see them go to New York with their problems. I could push on the Saints. Green Bay. Green Bay needs a wide receiver one desperately, but I also don't want a wide receiver to go there.
But you know what? Wide receiver two with the Giants would be nice.
Yeah,
With him
with
and
it,
with him and Neighbors, yeah.
they would play differently. There's some wide receivers that they have. I've seen mocks of the Giants where I don't want them to go there because I don't think it makes sense. But
Mhm.
Carnell Tate would be one where it would make sense, I think.
Right.
Next one here, though, for me at number 5, I do have Ryan Williams out of
Mhm.
Alabama. He's down 2 spots for me here. Also, I like him. I do think there's still obviously potential here. He's one of the more fluid athletes as far as the receivers go, as far as what he could do inside and outside his breaks and how he's catching the ball and being there. His drops are a concern. I think that's more of concentration towards him. But I do like what I see in Ryan Williams. I think there's obviously still some star potential there as well. Germie Bernard came out and did really good with this year for Alabama, but Ryan Williams is still a factor. It's just not it was kind of we saw the hype in his freshman year, and it hasn't exceeded that.
Right.
It's kind of been I won't say it's worse. He still had a good season, but it's not what the freshman year was. So we're holding him to that caliber. But now it's like, okay, teams have a full year of tape on him, so they adjusted, able to guard him a little bit better, right? But still a good wide receiver overall.
Yeah, and I mean, this goes to surprise a lot of people, but he's never been the wide receiver one there.
Yeah.
Last year, Germie Bernard was a wide receiver one there. This year, Germie Bernard's the wide receiver one.
So that could be big if he does become it next year, right?
Yeah. So I mean, there's consistency issues with Ryan Williams, drops, and then you just see a lot of games where he just isn't a factor.
Right, where they're easy to cut him off there. But I think that opens it up for Jerry Bernard. But it's a lot of games where they're able to double team him, and then they leave someone else open. Hence Jerry Bernard there.
Yeah.
Number 6 here. We're actually both in one. It's funny because you have him down 1, I have him up 1, and that's Arizona State's Jordyn Tyson. Talk about him.
Yeah, and it's not really anything he's done that I've dropped him. It's just that Carnell Tate's just been better this year. So I had to move him up above him.
Fair.
So Tyson, moving him down from 5 to 6 for me. Again, injury concerns there. This is the second year in a row he's been hurt. Different injury than what it was last year, but still that those start to add up to you.
Yeah, that's man. I'm slowly fading away from Tyson. Come draft time, obviously, if he's there at certain picks, I'll pick him. But those injuries are scary, and it hasn't just been these past 2 years. It's been 3 years in a row now. He missed his sophomore season at Colorado there with the ACL, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay,
it was ACL, MCL. Missed that. Then he transferred to Arizona State, got hurt with the collarbone at the end, and then this year I think it's a hamstring, if I'm not mistaken. And so it's concerning at this point. Obviously, the athletic profile is there. Obviously, he's a great wide receiver. I'm not knocking that. But Tommy, I'm going to allude to something that you say consistently. The best ability is durability. And durability has been there, but it also hasn't been there, right? This is a time where he missed the playoffs for Arizona State, and that could have been a big factor for them last year. They just had to roll with Cam Scatterbill and Levette. Had he been there, who knows? They could have been the dominating team that upset a lot of teams and made it to a championship.
Yeah.
We don't know, but that's a big part.
They almost upset Texas without him. So imagine
Right.
if they would have had him.
So that's scary when it comes to it. We do this stuff for fantasy football, but at the NFL level, I think he's going to be a good wide receiver. But I'm kind of at that point where at a fantasy level, I feel he's going to be more disappointing than not because he's not going to be on the field as much as we need him to. And maybe during those playoff times, as we allude to that type of season now, towards the end of the season, week 14 coming around the corner, where he misses the game with an injury, and that's the game you need him to play to get in the playoffs, right? So that's kind of scary for me. And again, if people fade him, if he's there at 110, I'm smashing that. But at that point where he's at, he's right now, are you like 101 through 104, depending who you ask? I'm a little hesitant. I may want to trade back, or I may, get Carnell Tate over him and stuff
Right.
like that. So a lot of things to come from Jordyn Tyson. Obviously, a great wide receiver, but I will say I'm a little hesitant on him because of his injuries there. Number 7, I didn't notice we're on lockstep on a lot of these more than I thought. Well, number 7 here. Who do we got?
Yeah, we got Dakorien Moore out of Oregon. I've got him up 1 spot. You have him up 4 spots. To me, he's that next dude up there at Oregon, right?
Yep.
It was expected to be Evan Stewart. He got hurt, and Dakorien Moore's kind of been that number 1 ish type of receiver up there as a freshman. Moving forward, I just think sky's the limit for him.
Especially at Oregon, like the beauty about him is he was an original commit there and immediately saw the field as a freshman. So now the imagination is running on. Imagine what's going to happen with 2 years under Will Stein offense. How they're going to utilize his skill sets, right? Because this one is kind of like, all right, let's see what we got. Obviously, they have the offseason. They're working with him in drills and spring ball. He looked great in spring ball. But during the season, it's like, let's see what we got with Dakorien Moore. Okay. We were able to go back and watch the tape on what he did. Now let's enhance that, right? And that's what's going to happen in this Will Stein offense is they're really going to dial into what he was able to do great and focus in on that. And, of course, improve what he wasn't able to do the best. But still, they're going to focus in on his talents and his traits to really make him excel at the next level. And this is going to be one of the better wide receivers we've seen at Oregon in a long time. Troy Franklin was a great wide receiver. Tez Johnson was a good wide receiver. Dakorien Moore has the potential to be a first-round pick, and we're going to see 3 years of him being successful at Oregon. That the sky's the limit for him, as you mentioned. That I think this is a great opportunity for him. So, I mean, I'm excited to see what they can do with him. And, rumors of Dante Moore coming back. 2 seasons with Dante Moore, that's going to be special, and then we'll see what they have after that. But, I mean, still, it's going to be very special to see his growth at Oregon there. Number 8 here, who you got?
I've got Denzel Boston here at number 8. I've moved him up 4 spots. He is a potential first-round draft pick in this upcoming draft. Really good size, good 50-50 ball guy, physical wide receiver. He's been out the last couple of weeks with I believe an ankle injury. But I fully expect him to be ready to go by draft time.
Why I've right now I have Nick Marsh at 8. Denzel Boston is actually gonna be my 9. So Nick Marsh went down 4. But Denzel Boston, why I feel enough people aren't talking about him. And I feel he can be argued as a top 3 wide receiver in this class. Am I wrong for thinking that?
No, he absolutely can be. I've got him number 4 in this class, but
Same.
But really depends on kind of pro day, combine workouts, draft day lead up. Boston could end up being that 3 guy over somebody like a Jordyn Tyson.
I feel like he's the best contested catch guy. Like his concentration when he's up in there, going up there and catching the ball is second to none. Like he really comes down. He's focused when the ball's in the air to bring it down. He has had some drops in the past. He's not necessarily the most fluid route runner, but he's still a good receiver to really be a game changer. Like he's going to be one that you're going to target on 3rd down or 4th down when you need that first. And he's going to be the guy to bring it down because of his strength when he's going up there and gaining. He has phenomenal size as well. Because Coleman in the same offense, but I agree. But yeah, but 2 different positions there, right? Jonah Coleman, 2 different positions there. Like, I get Coleman's there too. I mean, Damon Williams is good too. But I feel the love isn't there as much as it should be on Denzel Boston. And trust me, I'm not hating it because when it comes to my rookie drafts, if he's there at the back end, I'm going to be loving that because people aren't talking about him enough. They're talking about your Jerry Bernard or your your Jordyn Tyson's Carnell Tates over him, and I'm like, all right, go ahead and do that, right? So I'm excited to see what he can do. My number 8 here, as I mentioned, is Nick Marsh. Moved down a little bit for me, but I still see his skill sets. As I said, I think this is the next DK Metcalf, just his aggression and his physicality and what he can do with the game and stretch the field. If he's not at Michigan State, a lot more people are talking about him, but because he's at Michigan State, it's not as heavy as it should be with some of these other prospects there. Number 9, who do you have at number 9?
Yeah, number 9, he's down 7 spots from me from the preseason. It's Ryan Williams. Again, consistency. just hasn't really been there. There's like I said, he's got games where he just completely isn't a factor in. I think Missouri. He didn't have any catches at all in that
Mhm.
in that game. So if he's going to jump back up to being a top tier elite wide receiver Devy prospect, he's going to have to become more consistent.
Fair. I can't argue that. I agree with that. But I see the talent there, and because he has been able to be on the field, I do like it. But like, I agree with that. I do have a note here because Denzel Boston is my 9, wide receiver 9. I do have a note though. If Bryant Wesco didn't get injured, this is where I would put him. The injury, he's looking like a smooth recovery, like he's gonna come back, but it was a neck injury, really scary. It's gonna be interesting to see how he's able to get back on the field. A lot of times with these injuries, it's not necessarily the physical recovery; it's more about the mental recovery, right? So when you get hurt like this and it potentially career ending, how do you step back onto the field without thinking of that possible injury, right?
Yeah.
I saw this with Noah Whittington last year, right? When he got hurt, he had to go through the mental hurdles of, all right, I need to get back in my game to really step in and say, hey, if I get hit, I can't get scared to, because you'll see that happen. And that's a fair thing to happen where these guys, it's a physical game, football, the most physical game that we could talk about outside of rugby potentially, right? But when these guys get hurt, that mental toll plays a factor in them. Not only going through the rehab for your actual physical, excuse me, traits and the injuries and recovery and all that, but also the mental hurdles they have to go through and saying, hey, I'm still a great player. I still have the strength to go out there and succeed against these bigger bodies that are going to be tackling me. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen with Wesco and how he adjusts and how he comes back from this. He would have been my 9 here, but because of injury, I didn't have him. So I do want to say Brian Wesco would be there for me. But it's Denzel Boston. We kind of already talked about that for him. Number 10, who do you got? I actually like who you got.
Yeah, my number 10, Chris Brazzell, out of Tennessee, 6'5", 200 pounds. Really good route runner, really good deep threat guy, really fast. He's really kind of jumped out of nowhere. A lot of people were expecting Mike Matthews to kind of be that wide receiver one at Tennessee this year. Turned out to be Chris Brazzell. He's Blitnikoff semifinalist, I believe. He's going to have over 1,000 yards this year in that offense. And just his size and speed and, just overall ability, I think puts him as a potential first-round draft pick.
That's fair. No, I think he can be sold in the first. I said he could be potentially the BTJ of this year as far as he goes to the next level. He gets a lot of touchdowns there because he's that soft field stretcher and he has the good footwork to really move up and down and make defenders miss, and good route running too. Number 10 is Dallas Wilson for me. He didn't move, but as I mentioned, with it earlier, is the injuries that kind of scare me to push him further up. But I do say that. And let's talk about my number 11 here, because he comes in here and says it right when I was about to say it here. Braylon Staley. We're not talking enough about him. This is a freshman wide receiver here out at Tennessee that is doing phenomenal things. I mean, he is doing the Lord's work when he's out there as a freshman and just looking great. He's a solid route runner. He's a speedster, but not your Jalen Hyatt kind of speedster. Like, he has some good cuts. He has some aggression in his cuts, and he makes some solid catches, and he's able to do things after the catch as well to make some plays there. I have him at number 11. A freshman that a lot of people are talking about. I know a lot more people are talking about Andrew Marsh, which we will a little later too, but he's really stepped up, in my opinion. I absolutely love Braylon Staley. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, Staley's, really, really good slot receiver. Decent enough size, 6'1", 190. So, it's not like he's just going to be a guy who gets knocked off a spot. He's completely different than Jalen Hyatt. It's like you were saying, Jalen Hyatt was more just a straight line type of wide receiver, whereas Staley, you're able to send him on short routes, intermediate routes, even deep routes, going across the middle of the field, get to the outside. He's going to have to. He's improved his hands over the course of the season. He had a couple drops earlier in the season that were kind of questionable, but he seemed to have shored that up. And that Tennessee 3-headed monster, at wide receiver, pretty incredible. They got 3 receivers over 700 yards, over 700 yards receiving this year with Brazzell and Staley and Matthews.
I think that's the only SEC team that has it. Might be the only team in the country that does too.
I think it is. Yeah.
Which is funny because we were talking about Clemson all offseason and we didn't focus on Tennessee, but Tennessee's the wide receiver room we should have been paying attention to there. That was my number 11. Who do you have at 11?
Yeah, number 11. I have Nick Marsh here at number 11. Big body, prototypical size. Like you said, if he wasn't at Michigan State, if he was in a better offense, we'd be talking more about him.
Yeah, I absolutely love Nick Marsh and what he's doing there. I think he's gonna be so a lot. I'm gonna be smashing a lot in rookie drafts.
Yep.
Who do we have here at number 12? I'll let you go. I think mine will surprise some people.
Yeah, my number 12 guy is Malachi Toney out of Miami. Just the real the best weapon as a freshman Miami has, and it's just going to continue to get better. I don't like his overall ADOT. Again, I'll have to take a deeper dive into looking at his game by game to see if it's improved, over the course of the season. Mm-hmm. But a couple weeks ago when I was looking at it, he had like a low 5s ADOT, which I didn't necessarily care for. But you're able to tell the skill, the skills are there. And that ADOT may just be because Carson Beck doesn't like to throw it downfield very much.
Yeah. I do have Malachi Toney a little bit later. Definitely a great wide receiver. I know a lot of people are hyped on him because of the plays he does. He's not my top freshman wide receiver here, but I do think there's some heavy hopes for him, what he could do with Miami. He's really been, as you mentioned earlier, the focal point for that team there. My number 12 here is BYU wide receiver Chase Roberts. Now, a lot of people aren't talking about Chase Roberts, and I'm going to get on my podium here and talk a little bit about him because Chase Roberts, to me, he's not Puka Nacua. He's not as fluid as Puka is in the route running, but he is a physical type wide receiver. He is a go-getter type of wide receiver to really go up there and get it. When I'm watching him make his catches and the way he's attacking the ball, it really reminds me of Devontae Adams. It really comes out to say he is a guy that has reliable hands. He's had some drops. A lot of players had drops. I'm not that worried about it. But he is a reliable wide receiver for any quarterback, and I absolutely love what he can do. What I've noticed in watching a lot of his tape is a lot of his throws, though, are thrown underneath him. So he either has to come back or he has to adjust his body with his hips to make the catch. And he is able to do that. His catch radius is phenomenal. He is one of the best wide receivers in the nation, in my opinion. And we aren't talking enough about him. A lot of other players are being talked about, and no one's talking about Chase Roberts. And this is a guy I feel can end up being the steal come your drafts, come the NFL draft. I absolutely love what I see in him, and I think he could be something special at that next level in Chase Roberts.
Yeah, he's got good speed. He's a downfield threat. Another big body type of guy. A little bit on the leaner side. But again, a guy who's able to get downfield, make big plays for you.
I think what's more to see how his actual ball tracking skills are, because again, a lot of the catches I'm seeing him make are him turning around to make the catch because it's thrown underneath him.
He's got good adjustment.
Exactly. Yeah. And so that's why I think it's going to be special at that next level, that we're not, all the star talent isn't there with some of the guys we said above him. But I think the NFL talent to make him see the field and to be productive at that next level is all there. He kind of fits that package. He's also an older wide receiver. He's a Latter-day Saint, so he went on the mission, right? So he started a little bit later, but it's kind of came together and it's progressed through the years. And I think this is his best year so far. So I'm absolutely in love with Chase Roberts right now. My wide receiver 12 in Devy. So that's going to surprise a lot of people there. Number 13, who do you have?
My number 13 is Duce Robinson for Florida State. Stop me if you've heard this before. Big 6'6" wide receiver out of Florida State, right? But the difference is he's not a plotter like Johnny Wilson and Kelvin Benjamin were. This guy can actually run. He can actually run routes. He's actually fast, got good hands, great 50-50 ball guy. Just, he has that, a lot of people kind of expected him to make the move to tight end when he came into college. He didn't. He stayed at wide receiver. So he's got the ability to kind of box out defenders also, just with his size. But to me, 6'6", a guy who can run. I'm not going to compare him to Randy Moss, but he runs well. Runs a lot better than the aforementioned Kelvin Benjamin and Johnny Wilson did.
Yeah. No, Duce Robinson, I absolutely love that he ended up transferring out right from USC and he made a name for himself there at Florida State. I think he's gonna be a hot commodity with his size there, and so that can be special at that next level because of that, right? And you think about a team that has someone like a Christian Gonzalez on the outside, you need that physical receiver like a Duce Robinson to go up against him, right? So let's say they just take him. Now Christian Gonzalez has work to do. They're going against a 6'6" wide receiver as well. So good pick there. My number 13, Texas A&M wide receiver Casey Concepcion, really having a good year this year. He had his freshman year blow up year out at NC State. Had a little bit of a down year compared to that NC State, ended up transfer to Texas A&M. Solid special teamers. Really showed his separation skills. Really showed his agility, his speed. Really being a big part of his offense. In the past couple of weeks, he's really stepped over Mario Craver and really saying, look, I can be a big focal point as well, right? So it's been nice to see Casey Concepcion. I think this is someone that's going to be a day 2 prospect. A little smaller, little nimmer than what you want as far as a wide receiver, but I think he's still going to be something special at that next level. And again, he might not see the field immediately as far as the offense, but he's also saw the special teams, so he could work his way up and just see that. And that's something, at the next level we have to consider that, like, these special teamers and what they're doing and how they really utilize the special team coach and what they're learning on special teams to really make that spot in the offense as well. That's why I see Casey Concepcion can do there as well.
Yeah, you have him at 13. I've got him at number 14. He's explosive and really electric with the ball in his hands. Real quick twitch. So he has the ability to make you miss. And moving into the next level, with his size, he's going to have to be able to make guys miss.
Right. And really, that's going to be something that he's going to shine. So he's going to look nice during combine, I feel like, too. That could raise his stock. Number 14, you said you had KC. I do have Andrew Marsh out of Michigan. This is a wide receiver that so far he's really impressed or towards, he's coming along with the season. And it's exciting to see because him and Bryce Underwood are going to be locked in together, right? They're going to grow together. Really, Michigan has been a run-first type of offense. I mean, we've seen it this past week. Justin Haynes and Jordan Marshall are both out, and can't the names drawing a blank here. Had 100 yards rushing as well, though, right? So it wasn't either their top 2 running backs, it was their third-string running back. Had 100 yards rushing. Run-first heavy team. The chemistry that Andrew Marsh and Bryce Underwood are about to develop during the offseason is going to be special. I think that's going to elevate them to be a better passing team as well next year. Just a fluid route runner, someone that could, make defenders miss in open space, has good concentration going up for the catch, really adjusting and really making a name for himself as a freshman there as well.
Yeah, I'm really high on Marsh also, and he could have very easily been in my top 15. I just couldn't not include the names I've got on mine. Marsh is kind of would be kind of that next guy out.
And it's fair to say once the 2026 class goes, Marsh goes in there. So
yeah.
But speaking of that, let's talk about our last one. Who's your 15?
My number 15, another draft eligible guy here, Germie Bernard. I kind of spoke on him earlier, how he's Alabama's number 1 receiver. He was last season. Kind of surprises a lot of people whenever you say that because people thought, oh, it's Ryan Williams.
Right.
No, it's actually Germie Bernard. And to me, he's the most pro-ready wide receiver on that team. He plays physical. You could use him in a variety of different ways. And he's actually a former high school quarterback, so he's able to throw the ball. You get him on kind of those wide receiver pass plays. He can throw back, and he's just really dynamic.
Doesn't he have a passing touchdown this year?
He does.
Okay. Jerry Bernard's gonna be good. A lot of people are getting first round buzz right now. As far as NFL. Well, we'll see. I think he's a great wide receiver. What he's doing at Alabama, we'll see when he goes to the next level. Because I think he's going to be one of those wide receivers that becomes team dependent. I don't think he's going to be able to go in there and automatically say, "This is my role now." Right? I think he's going to be team dependent and also coaching dependent on how they use him because he has a specific skill set where you can use him the right way, but you can also just put him outside and just say, "Hey, go do your thing," and it's not going to be as efficient what moving around could do for a team as well. But similar to what I think this guy, I have Malachi Toney. I have him at 15 at Miami. You had him a little earlier, but someone that I feel I want to see more of him, but I do like what I see. As far as a freshman, really came in and really stepped up and did some phenomenal things, having a great season. Aggressive, big body build. As far as the strength and what he could do when the ball's in his hands. Really a special playmaker. I think that's what's going to elevate him if he continues those playmaking abilities to do that at the next level as well. So we'll see what comes to Malachi Toney, especially with Carson Beck out, what quarterback they bring in, and how that's really going to adjust the offense in Miami there as well. So before we get into our games of the week, let's go ahead and give our top 15 recap here before we head on to it. Go ahead and give your top 15.
Yeah, my top 15, 5 new names, 2 stayed the same, had 6 up and 2 down. My number 1, we're going to go Jeremiah Smith. Number 2, Makai Lemon. 3, Cam Coleman. 4, Dallas Wilson. 5, Carnell Tate. 6, Jordyn Tyson. 7, Dakorien Moore. 8, Denzel Boston. 9, Ryan Williams. 10, Chris Brazzell II. 11, Nick Marsh. 12, Malachi Toney. 13, Duce Robinson. 14, Casey Concepcion. And 15, Germie Bernard.
Beautiful, beautiful. We had a lot of the same names up here. For my top 15, I have 6 new guys, 4 went up and 3 down, and 2 stayed the same. I have Jeremiah Smith at 1, Makai Lemon at 2, Cam Coleman at 3, Carnell Tate at 4, Ryan Williams at 5, Jordyn Tyson at 6, Dakorien Moore at 7, Nick Marsh at 8, Denzel Boston at 9, Dallas Wilson at 10, Braylon Staley at 11, Chase Roberts at 12, Casey Concepcion at 13, number 14, Andrew Marsh. Number 15, Malachi Toney. That is our top 15 right now in Devy. Obviously, the 2026 class is going to change that. So make sure you're staying tuned for when we do end up doing that as well. But before we let y'all go here today, let's talk about some games of the week and then some games we're going to watch. Toney, what games of the week do we have today?
Yeah, games of the week. Texas A&M at Texas on Friday. Big game for A&M. If they win this, they clinch a spot in the SEC title game. If they lose it, then they're probably likely out of the SEC title game. Mm-hmm. But still still going to go to the playoff. Texas, this is got to be kind of a statement game for them. They're at 8-3 right now. They don't want to finish 8-4. Obviously, they're not in the playoff race. But if they win this game, they finish strong, go 9-3. All of a sudden, they have a lot of momentum going into next year.
Yeah, it's going to be very special to see what they can do. I've been saying it for weeks now. Texas A&M is the best team in Texas, probably the best team in the SEC as well. And I just said it recently on X. Again, follow out the PPR. So here, I think Texas A&M is the only team right now where I could see really give a run to Ohio State. With the way their defense is playing, with the way the offense is. Obviously, we've seen the offense get shut down as we did versus South Carolina. But the way they were able to rally back and the defense really step up and shut down South Carolina as well at the second half says a lot about them as well. Then we have Oregon at Washington. What's special about this game?
We just have a lot of prospects in this game. Dante Moore, Kenyon Sadiq, the Oregon running backs, Dakorien Moore, and then for Washington, hopefully Denzel Boston plays. Desmond Roebuck, their dynamic freshman wide receiver. Jonah Coleman, Damon Williams. I don't necessarily classify Damon Williams as a Devy quarterback. I think he's a little bit small for that. Right. But he's still a really dynamic college player, fun to watch.
For sure. And Washington has had Oregon's number in the past, and they're at Washington, so that's a little scary there. But Oregon needs to go guns a-blazing to make sure they're, a team there for them as well, because it could, if they lose, it could possibly push them out of playoffs. Mm-hmm. Vanderbilt at Tennessee. This is a big game. You kind of hinted towards it earlier. What are you looking for here?
Yeah, this is really a play-in game for Vanderbilt. They win, then they kind of remain in that playoff hunt. If they lose, then they're out. And this is a big-time rivalry, in-state rivalry for both. Obviously for both teams. Vanderbilt from the mid-state, Tennessee from Knoxville. You got Joey Aguilar against Diego Pavia. The two highest scoring teams in the SEC this season. Right. So I think it's going to be a shootout. It's going to be real fun to watch.
Yeah, it's Pavia can do some damage to that Tennessee defense, but just as Aguilar can do some damage to that Vanderbilt defense as well. So it should be fun to watch, as you mentioned. Another big one, Ohio State and Michigan. Talk to us about that one.
Ohio State has the best defense in the country. tons of Devy prospects on that team, but they haven't beaten Michigan in I think 5 years. Going on 5 years, they've lost 4 straight to Michigan. You know, and this may be the biggest rivalry in the country, right? So, you know, it almost got Ryan Day fired last year. If he wouldn't have won the national title, he may have been fired.
Right.
So there's a lot of bad blood, you know, in between these two teams. And like I said, it's probably the biggest rivalry in the country.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like I already seen that Carnell Tate may not be playing this week against Michigan. I don't know, but if they aren't with Carnell Tate or Jeremiah Smith, that's a huge blow to Ohio State already, like a big blow. But on the flip side, Michigan's without Justin James and Jordan Marshall, that's a big blow to them as well. So it'll be interesting to see if both those teams have their two-star running backs and their 2-star receivers out. What's going to happen, right? Because it's really going to have to say it, and, you know, Bryce Underwood really going head-to-head there.
Well, I mean, Ohio State has other weapons. Max Clare stepped up this past week, and, you know, you kind of saw what he's able to do.
Right.
Brandon Ennis, he's got to be more involved if Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate aren't going to play.
For sure.
And then, you know, their running game there is sick with Bo Jackson. So, you know, then you could bring in C.J. Donaldson and Isaiah West and James Peoples, you know, coming in behind him. Whereas Michigan, their identity is running the ball. So if they don't have, I mean, they're not going to have Haynes, but if they don't have Marshall either, that's going to be a big time problem for them.
Yeah, all these games, if the upsets happen, if Texas wins, if Washington wins, if Tennessee wins, Michigan wins, we can see a lot of things transitioning as far as for the college football playoffs. Some gain out, some just losing some bye week potentially. So it's going to be interesting to see what just happens overall with those games. But those are the games of the week. What are some games we are watching? What's the first one?
Missouri at Arkansas, another big rivalry game. You know, Arkansas is fun to watch. They got a good offense. They don't play any defense, so that means Missouri's going to score a lot of points too. So this could be a fun one. Ahmad Hardy should be able to run for as many yards as he wants to against this team.
500 incoming.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, could be a pretty fun, decent game to watch.
Do you think Ahmad Hardy ends up transferring again?
No,
stays in Missouri.
I don't see why he would. Unless Eli Drinkwitz goes somewhere else, but
yeah. It'll be interesting. Taylor Green, you know, Arkansas, that'll be fun to watch too, you know, what's going to happen there. But definitely some Arkansas was very under the radar prospects, right? That could potentially do something, but not holding our breath. Outside of Ahmad Hardy, we both like him a lot. Miami at Pittsburgh. What's going to be special about this one?
Miami's still kind of in it for a at large berth. They're not, neither them or Pitt is really in it for a ACC title game. That looks like it's going to be SMU and Virginia. But I mean, you know, Mason Hitchell's been pretty fun to see play at Pitt. Hopefully Desmond Reed's back this week too. And then with Miami, like we kind of mentioned earlier, Malachi Toney, Mark Fletcher, Carson Beck, pretty decent prospects. Pretty decent prospects all around there.
Yeah, it'll be a fun game to watch there. Miami's going to be a hot name for a quarterback, as we know Carson Beck's going to be going to the NFL. Chances are they're going to go after the transfer portal and try to get someone. So, you know, I know people are selling Norris Sellers. I know I think Sam Levette's going to end up going there, but it'll be interesting to see who ends up going there at that, assuming Levette and Lenore Sellers do end up staying another year, which we think is more than likely. Georgia at Georgia Tech. This one is a fun game to watch as well.
Yeah, good old-fashioned hate is what it's called. You know, literally, that's the name of the game, good old-fashioned hate. They don't like each other. This game went multiple overtimes last year. Georgia Tech kind of got blasted this past weekend and really hurt their chances of making the playoff. And I think Georgia's going to want to come into this game and show that last year, you know, they're not going to overlook Georgia Tech kind of the way that they did last year.
Yeah. It'll be fun because this is one, I mean, you know, it could definitely be a game where get out here and really quickly, right? If Haynes King goes crazy or they get it to Jamal Haynes or anything like that, and they end up going up 14-20. The thing with Georgia Tech is they can score quickly. right? They have the playmakers that are fast, speedy, that can get down the field quickly. But on the flip side, Georgia has a pretty stout defense too, so they can easily just stop them from scoring overall, and end up getting Georgia's offense
Yeah.
good field position.
And Haynes King is the type of guy that would just assume go out there and die in the middle of the field. So
he puts it all, blood,
Yep.
sweat, and tears on the field. Last game, another rivalry here, Alabama at Auburn. If y'all don't remember way back in the day, that field goal that ended up being the touchdown that
Kick
Auburn,
six.
Auburn ended up getting upset. What's gonna be fun about this game?
Yeah, it's the Iron Bowl. Mentioned that Ohio State and Michigan is probably the biggest rivalry in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama Auburn's probably the second biggest rivalry in the country.
Right.
The Iron Bowl is just full of hatred. These two schools hate each other. These two fan bases hate each other.
Mm-hmm.
And if Auburn's gonna pull any type of upset, it's going to be over Alabama. That's just how it is. Auburn could be terrible and still go out there and play their best game of the season against Alabama. That's just it's happened time and time again throughout the history of this rivalry.
For sure. And this will be fun, right? This is the one with Duce Knight, right? Cam Coleman, see what they can do. That could be something where they don't have the tape all night, as they had with Arnold for the full season. So now it could be something where they need to adjust really a lot. And, Ty Simpson, this is a big game as much as Auburn's not the ranked team they need to beat, right? But still a big game to say, hey, how are you gonna do in these rivalries? Because once you get, let's say Ty Simpson ends up going to Pittsburgh, well, how are you gonna do when you go against the Ravens, right? When you have those big time rivalry games, it's gonna be something special. Alabama, they should win, but upsets happen all the time, and this could be a big one that really sussed them out. Are they out of the playoff race, Alabama? They are, right?
No, they're ranked number 10 coming into the night.
Okay. So there's some opportunity there for them, but I think going out, I think they lose to Auburn, they could definitely get knocked out there.
Yeah. If Alabama loses, they're out. So
yeah. So a lot of upsets could happen. As I mentioned, can transition the playoffs and what we think is happening right now for them. But more to come, and we'll follow up with next week. That's all we have for y'all in today's episode. We appreciate everyone tuning in. Don't forget, if you find this content helpful or you just enjoy it, don't forget to hit that like button, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, help us grow, share with your friends, share with your families. Next week is our season finale. So it is our last episode of the Devy Degens season 2. This is going to be an episode where we're going to talk about the highs and the lows of the 2025 football Devy season. So the players that we talked about, what's good, what's bad about them. And then, we're going to be working on all our rankings, right? As we transition to getting the rookies out, adjusting our rankings based on 2026 class happening. That's why next week's our last episode, so we can make sure when it comes to rookie season and Devy beyond that we give y'all the top tier. We're going to dive into film, we're going to dive into tape. All that's going to be coming for y'all. But everyone, we appreciate y'all tuning in. For myself, Tom Harvey, for the Devy Degens, for the Degen community, everyone that's tuned in for us this whole season and rock with us, we appreciate it. Don't forget to get the Devy Values, Devy Dynasty Trade Calculator, DTC, promo code DEGEN, DEGEN. Get the best Devy values you can out there. Where if you're in these Devy leagues, how can you go out there and get Cam Coleman? What kind of trade do you need to make it happen? How can you get Chase Roberts or Malachi Toney? What are you doing to make these players to get them before they actually pop? We're telling you these are names that we're watching right now. Go out there, use the Dynasty Trade Calculator, promo code DEGEN, DEGEN, to use that and get that. Also, if you're a fan of drafting, Fast Draft is still there. Promo code DEGEN, DEGEN on there as well. So go out there and get a $25 deposit match. So go out there and draft, win some big money. But for everyone here, the Degens, we appreciate y'all tuning in. Until next time, peace.